After suffering a hard-fought loss to the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears find themselves in an unexpectedly optimistic position, one that reflects both their growing resilience as a team and the strategic acumen of head coach Ben Johnson, who, despite the defeat, demonstrated a level of adaptability and player-centric coaching that few in the NFL could match. And this optimism is underscored by multiple key takeaways that suggest the franchise is building toward not just short-term success, but a sustainable blueprint for contention. Foremost among these takeaways is the performance of rookie quarterback Caleb Williams against one of the league's most dynamic defensive threats in Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys, a player whose pre-game bravado, marked by trash talk claiming a lack of respect for the Bears, and a simultaneous dedication in practice to mimicking Williams for his teammates' preparation, set the stage for a matchup that was as much psychological as physical. Yet on the field, Williams displayed an extraordinary combination of poise, field awareness, and agility, repeatedly escaping Parsons' pressures and delivering precise throws, including multiple edge-beating touchdowns to Zacchaeus, which not only neutralized Parsons' presence but also highlighted that while Parsons is undeniably a disruptive force requiring offensive adjustments, a quarterback with mobility, quick decision-making, and confidence in his reads can mitigate even the most imposing pass rushers. A narrative that provides tangible hope for Chicago as they prepare to face the Cleveland Browns and defensive end Myles Garrett, widely regarded as one of the premier edge rushers in the league, in a matchup that will undoubtedly test the offensive line, the quarterback's improvisational skills, and Johnson's ability to craft game-specific strategies. Beyond the micro-level observations of Williams' escapability, the game illuminated the profound impact of Ben Johnson's coaching philosophy, which emphasizes adaptability, humility, and the prioritization of player strengths over rigid system adherence. Rather than forcing Williams into a conventional pocket-passing mold that might have exposed him to the full brunt of Parsons' athleticism, Johnson designed a heavy dose of play-action and bootleg schemes that allowed Williams to operate in space, dictate tempo, and make high-percentage throws, a decision that yielded remarkable results. Williams went 14 for 22 for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns under play action, a stark contrast to a 5 for 13, 42-yard performance from traditional dropbacks, and crucially, he took 0 sacks, demonstrating that Johnson's approach effectively preserved the quarterback's health, confidence, and ability to influence the game in high-leverage moments. This commitment to flexible, player-first scheming was further underscored by analytics writer Bill Barnwell, who highlighted that the Bears' play-action usage against Green Bay surged to 60.5% of dropbacks, nearly double their season average of just under 33%, and among the highest single-game rates in the NFL over the last decade, illustrating that Johnson was willing to deviate from standard tendencies in order to protect his quarterback and maximize offensive efficiency, a strategy that simultaneously neutralized Parsons' edge presence while allowing Williams to exploit mismatches downfield and repeatedly convert critical third downs, thereby reinforcing the notion that elite coaching involves both tactical creativity and psychological insight into the strengths and limitations of one's own roster. Equally compelling is the psychological dimension of the Bears' performance, particularly their second-half resilience, which transformed a game that appeared to be a blowout into a contest decided by a single play. Trailing by 2 scores at halftime, the team's ability to adjust, maintain focus, and execute in the face of adversity demonstrated a maturity and mental fortitude characteristic of playoff-level squads, contrasting sharply with the typical response of teams facing elite defenses, who often fold or succumb to momentum swings, and in doing so, the Bears sent a clear signal to both fans and opponents that they possess the capacity to compete in high-stakes environments, respond to in-game challenges, and adapt strategically on the fly, a combination of attributes essential for any team with legitimate postseason aspirations. This broader narrative gains further weight when considering the context of the NFL's divisional and playoff landscape. The Bears retain control of their destiny, capable of securing a higher divisional standing and a postseason berth through disciplined execution in the remaining games against Cleveland and a return matchup with Green Bay at Soldier Field, a scenario that positions the team not as passive beneficiaries of others' failures, but as active architects of their own success, while simultaneously fostering a culture of accountability, expectation, and competitive excellence. In this sense, the Green Bay loss, though disappointing in its immediate result, functions less as a setback and more as a developmental milestone, revealing both the strengths of the team's emerging identity, defined by adaptive coaching, quarterback-centric scheming, and resilient mindset, and the areas requiring attention such as explosive play generation, situational efficiency, and execution in the final moments, each of which Johnson has demonstrated the capacity to address through in-game adjustments, halftime recalibrations, and a consistent emphasis on building the offense around Williams' unique skill set. On the individual level, Williams' repeated ability to beat Parsons to the edge, evade pressure, and deliver accurate throws underscores the tangible progress of his development as a starting quarterback in the NFL, a progress facilitated by Johnson's willingness to cede ego, tailor game plans to his quarterback's strengths, and adjust dynamically to opposing defensive schemes, an approach that contrasts sharply with the more rigid, system-first philosophies that often stifle young signal callers, and which offers a compelling template for future matchups against elite defenders like Garrett. Moreover, the strategic emphasis on mobility and play action not only mitigates immediate threats, but also enhances long-term player confidence, reduces injury risk, and creates opportunities for explosive plays in the passing game, as evidenced by Williams' performance in the second half, where he improved from an abysmal first-quarter showing, 1 of 7 for 2 yards passing, to a 13 for 21 on 154-yard, 2-touchdown effort, demonstrating that patient coaching, adaptability, and trust in player strengths can turn an otherwise bleak situation into a competitive, nearly one-possession contest, even against historically challenging defenses. Complementing these tactical and psychological elements is the team's collective execution, particularly on defense and special teams, where incremental adjustments and situational awareness contributed to the narrowing of a halftime deficit, allowing the Bears to control momentum and remain in contention. Although the game ultimately ended on a turnover that prevented a comeback, the overall trajectory of the contest revealed a squad capable of responding to elite competition with composure, strategy, and efficiency, a capacity that will be tested again against Cleveland, where the combination of Garrett's pass rush prowess, the Browns' defensive front, and the challenge of avoiding a trap game scenario will require the Bears to leverage every lesson from Green Bay, including pre-snap reads, quarterback mobility, offensive line adjustments, and precise timing and play-action sequences, all of which fall squarely within Johnson's demonstrated skill set. This intricate interplay of talent, coaching, and execution situates the Bears in a uniquely advantageous position within the broader NFL landscape. They are not merely competitors. They are architects of their own potential success, with a quarterback capable of high-level improvisation, a coach capable of adaptive scheming, and a team culture increasingly defined by resilience, expectation, and situational intelligence, factors that collectively elevate the franchise's outlook and create a narrative of controlled optimism, strategic innovation, and legitimate contention, even in the face of setbacks. Indeed, the Green Bay game, when analyzed through both micro and macro-level lenses, serves as a compelling case study in modern NFL coaching, player development, and team psychology, illustrating that while losses are inevitable, their impact can be mitigated through preparation, adaptability, and a commitment to leveraging individual